And today we are meeting with some of our directors of the short films and the web series that have been playing here this weekend. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down the row, introduce us, introduce yourself. Tell us your project, and yeah, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, my name is Marin, Lepore. I'm the writer and director of a web series called I Put the Bi in Bitter, which is about like a bisexual teenager and her lesbian BFF in high school. If you didn't see it at the screening, you can watch the whole thing on YouTube for free.
My name is Naipaul. I am the writer, director, and I also star in Unqualified. And yes, if you saw it last night, it was at the premiere. It was pretty great.
How many people were there and got to sit?
Yeah, the first season's on YouTube right now. So if you guys search Unqualified web series, you should be able to find it. Look at Megan. Megan's my cheerleader.
Are you guys?
Hello. Hey, my girlfriend walks in right as okay. My name's Emma. I'm a writer, director, and editor of The Date. It was shown 2 days ago. I don't fucking know.
Friday.
That's Friday.
I know.
Oh, yesterday. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Oh my God.
It was shown yesterday, and you can't watch it online because we're doing festivals right now. But it should be out next year at some point, somewhere. Where am I from?
Yeah, your accent's yesterday.
Yesterday. Yesterday. Well, okay, yeah, I'm from London, but I don't have a London accent.
My name is Schepmann. I am the writer, director, location scout, producer, color corrector, sound engineer. I did a lot of things, and I starred in Life at Home. It's a short film, and we'll have our world premiere on Sunday, so it is nowhere, but it will be here tomorrow at noon.
Hey y'all, my name is Chelsea Woods. I am the director and co-writer of If This Is Wrong, which played yesterday. Because it is an AFI thesis film, we have not yet put it online, but because there's been a lot of interest about it, we're gonna try and find a distro home for it online. So we'll get it to y'all.
Hi, I'm Lagueria Davis, and I have a short, Light and Dark Places, writer, director, and it's screening tomorrow at noon, and so, yeah, hope to see you out.
So, like I said, we met with feature film directors earlier today, and now shorts and web series are still hard as hell to produce. Maybe even harder, because you guys even have even smaller budgets most of the time than features. Tell us one of the, I guess, most challenging things that you kind of went through going through this process and making your project.
As it relates to what?
As it relates to, I guess, making your project, like in terms of, what was one of the hardest things that you had to deal with in making the project? Anyone can answer.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with web series is that since they're so independent and since they're so low budget, you really have to like pull from all of your own resources. So like we had a very skeleton crew. It was like a crew of like less than 10 people, and you're just like pulling from people you have to like find locations that you have connections to. So our budget for season 1 was like $600, and most of that just went to food. Like everyone was working for free. We got the locations for free. So it's just like budgeting, having no money is the biggest thing.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think the hardest thing for me was really getting episodes 1 through 3 like off the ground. Like I had to it was basically just me trying to reach out with all my connections and being like, look, I have this script, I'm gonna act in this. They're like, well, have you acted in anything else? I'm like, not really, but it's gonna be great. And they're like just getting people to believe in me and getting people in that first round. But after the first 3 were done and cut and they saw the final product, because I let some people watch the first 3 to get the next 2, 4, and 5 shot, like it really picked up. Like you could definitely see the quality improve in episode 4. So I think that was probably the biggest thing to overcome.
For me, it was money. I had no money, literally had no money. I didn't even have money for rent, so yay. And I did a crowdfunding campaign at the same time as filming, so I was dishing out money that I didn't have, hoping to get it back. And it was like a whole thing, and my girlfriend yelled at me because she's like, "You don't even have money. What the fuck are you doing?" But yeah, that was it. And then getting crew as well for cheap, because I wasn't going to do it for free. Like, I didn't want to be like, yeah, come and work for free and stuff. Like, friends and stuff, I did it for free. Like, they were like, we'll help you out and stuff. But it was getting the crew. The crew was mental. Like, we had to go through, like, a few first ADs and stuff, because, like, they just weren't helpful. And I didn't know anything. I was like, it's fine. We're going to make this film with, like, a sound guy, a light. I didn't even know what a gaffer was at the time. I was like, a light, and I'll direct it, and that's it. And then my producer was like, no, you're going to need a gaffer, you're going to need runners, you're going to need a car, you're going to need this and that. And then I was like, okay, shit, I didn't think this through. So that was the most challenging thing for me. I think it's all money, like pretty much money.
I think casting was the hardest thing for me, because it's such a personal project that I really needed the exact perfect person to take the role. And so it was just like sorting through lots of people to find that person. And then getting, like, I had a DP ready to go, and just finding like the gaffer and the extra hands was also just difficult for no budget.
So my challenge was like, it was odd. It kind of took me by surprise. So when we started crowdfunding for our project, I woke up 2 days later, got on my Tumblr, because I'm just a slut for Tumblr, and I saw a post saying, don't give money to this project. And
Wait, your project?
for If This Is Wrong.
Oh my God.
It turns out one of the creators had gotten into some kind of fandom wars with some folks. And so, yeah, Tumblr, so welcoming. And so, of course, I like read, and the person that made the post was like, there are people of color involved in the project. Didn't name me, didn't name the composer who had also been attached. So don't like try to go after them, but like this other person is problematic. So I reached out to the people and I was like, explain what happened. And it involved like Star Wars fandom and yeah, no, this is like post Force Awakens, Finn Poe, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, no. And so for me, it became this kind of like challenge emotionally of wanting to show and prove for my folks, and you know, a lot of fans that I love, that I have relationships with, that had problems with this person, but also really serve the story. And you know, this is somebody that grew from their mistakes and wanted to make this project to address those problems. And so just trying to really facilitate a conversation and make this project work for everyone. So it was hard, but it's a great learning experience as a creator of color that wants to go into the mainstream.
I think I can just echo the budgeting and just the money part of it, but ironically enough, I had more money to shoot this short than I've had to shoot anything, including my first feature. So I feel like I've upgraded a bit, and we definitely had to call in some favors, and thankfully my producers who are in the audience right now, they work in the industry, they know how to manage, and like we were together, we were able to like make it happen by, you know, being able to pay some crew and calling in favors for, you know, a few other crew. And I think casting was an interesting thing, because we had booked someone who I really, really wanted for the role and didn't think I could get, but she responded to the material. And so I was really, really excited, but she was on like an HBO show, and so we had to push twice. And then by the time we got to the third round, she was like, recast me. Like, I don't want to set another date and then have something conflict with the schedule, and then you have to push indefinitely. So that was definitely a challenge. And I think, you know, we recast, and I'm actually quite happy with the casting choice. And I think it worked very well, and hopefully if you see it tomorrow, you can tell me if it worked well or not, if they have chemistry, and you buy their relationship. Oh yeah, you saw it.
They really do. Spoiler alert, it's awesome.
So yes.
Fantastic. So one of the things that we do here at ClexaCon, this is actually the first year that we had our creator lab. How many people? You guys like it? You learned some stuff, yeah. So that's one of the missions here, is that we want to empower queer creators to create their own stuff, because obviously there's a lack of it. We want to be more represented. What's one thing that you guys would say to someone who's newly invested into trying to become a creator, try to make their first film, et cetera? What's something, is there something that someone said to you when you started that has stuck with you?
It's hard as shit. But do it anyways.
Preparation, preparation, preparation. Basically, you just want to get yourself to a place that you're so prepared that when you get onto set, you don't even have to think about it. You can just make choices in the moment. So just really preparing yourself. And you don't have to be super fancy to start. You just need a good story, people that believe in you, and just it's hard getting people together. But when you find those folks and you have that time, just use it wisely. Yeah.
I would say rehearse with your actors as much as possible before you start filming. So even if it's like a week or two before, make sure that they're familiar with the characters before you get on set. And I know some people are like, oh, but we're just going to rehearse like on set, but then you're kind of wasting your time, because you need to also be looking at the shots and making sure that everything is working. So there's no time for you really to stay with the actors. So yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I am such a strong believer that representation starts behind the scenes, because even if you have a kick-ass movie with all female characters or LGBT characters, if it's all filtered through the lens of male writers and male directors and a bunch of straight people, that doesn't do anything to change the toxic culture in the industry. So especially with my project, I Put the By Emitter, we had all women in leading creating positions, so like writer, director, producer, DP, sound, editing, music composing, and we also tried to get as many LGBT people on the cast and crew as well, because it's important that these minority stories are made by minorities.
And
Good job. She's so smart. It's like hard to sit next to her. For someone first starting out, I would just say get a DSLR camera and get a Rokinon lens and just play with it and just figure out shots and figure out how to use that camera. Get some editing software and just start editing videos. I'm sure a lot of you probably already know about that. Like, we're in a queer like fandom-y kind of place where I know a lot of people are editing stuff like that kind of stuff. Just little things. DSLRs, amazing tools. Love it.
I would say begin with the end in mind. I definitely have a body of shorts and web series, but not really understanding how that could propel my career forward. So I'm just now learning in these rooms and these spaces exactly the difference between when you think people are telling you have to choose and that you're gonna get pigeonholed into something. It's actually trying to figure out what it is that you want to do that could then open the door for you to do other things. So if you're shooting a film, just to give an example, if you want to go on to actually try to earn a living directing, shooting your short film in a way that you could then use in your director's reel that's targeted for if you want to go into episodic television, a certain show. It's just kind of like it's a lot of work, but if it was something that I knew back then, I would have been doing that. It doesn't always necessarily come down to your voice and vision as a writer director, but what you want to get out of it. And how it's going to move the needle forward for your career as a writer and a director.
I have one more thing to add. Also, one thing that I wish that I was told, or like that I could tell someone else, is get your script as tight as possible. Like, don't think I'm gonna make it really long, or like I need all these scenes in. Like, make sure you get as much feedback as possible, and just cut scenes if you need to cut scenes. Because like for my film, we had to delete like 3 scenes in the end, and that was like a whole day shoot. in the edit, and it was pointless. And that's because we didn't show the script to anyone. And we were just like, we need those scenes, it's good to the story, like we need to whatever. And it's like, no, actually we did not need that. So that was a waste of time and money and just effort. Like even the actors were like, you fucking cut these scenes, like what was the point? So like you'll piss everyone off. Just get the script tight, like from the beginning.
Fantastic. One of the things that I know, I'm doing my first short film out of grad school right now, and oh my God. But one of the things that I've been learning a lot is that you think you know, I said this morning, you think you know what you know until you don't know what you don't know. Was there something in this project, or maybe your first project, was something that you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that was what that was supposed to be? Or I thought it was supposed to be this, but it turned out completely different. Or is it just me? No, I'm kidding.
No. I remember, so I did the AFI Directing Workshop for Women, which is this really awesome directing program based out of the AFI Conservatory. And so I remember having my first meeting with my production mentor, and she has her notes on the script and is gonna ask me like, okay, you're the production concerns from my end as a producer. And she was like, okay, you have this like TV show that's within the movie, which is also something I did in If This Is Wrong. And she was like, so how are you going to put this fake show onto the screens that are within the like real world? And I was like, oh shit. Because I gotta shoot the show the day before I actually shoot the reality. And she was like, green screen is what you're going to do. And so, you know, it's like, it's what you don't know until you are put into that situation. So, you know, it's all a learning experience, and it's good to, you know, push for your creative vision and then bump against the limitations and be creative in those limitations. I think that's like the best part of starting out as a filmmaker, is realizing like there are limitations, especially with money and with time. And yeah, you just learn in the moment.
I think I can answer. Yeah. My background, I went to film school for like a year and a half before I dropped out because I decided it was kind of pointless. But I went in a producing track, so I knew everything about scheduling and budgeting and planning. I had all the plans in place, but when we actually got on set, it was like the very technical aspects of like camera work and lighting. Like I didn't really understand how important lighting was until I got a really good gaffer and a really good DP who broke it down for me. And I was like, oh, this takes you from this level to this level. So yeah, it's like, I think
Yeah, stuff like that.
technical aspects
Yeah.
for me.
So out of all the things, I know I joke with Sierra all the time because she literally does everything all the time, like writing, directing. Is there one thing out of it that you feel that is your strongest suit, or do you love doing everything? Is there one thing that you guys y'all want to excel towards, or is it just like literally everything?
Acting. Please hire me.
I mean, I'm a writer because I can't not write, and it just like that's the middle core of everything about me. But I also love acting because you get to play all of those things and you get to be somebody else every day. So I'd really like to focus on those two tracks with my life, but filmmaking is hard and expensive, and I don't have the capability.
I didn't understand the question, so I'm not.
I just meant, is there a one facet of production that you were like, that's my love, that's my passion, writing, directing? Is it everything? If it's everything, that's cool, because that's.
Yeah, I absolutely love writing. I'm so passionate about writing comedies, especially episodic comedies ones, because writing gives you this tool to represent the stories that you don't see, like minorities and the LGBT community, people of color. And I thought that I hated directing for the longest time, but that was just because I was on really bad projects and working with bad people. But then this series kind of made me fall in love directing, and it's like, it can be fun if you just surround yourself with people who are as passionate about your project as possible. So that's like super important in making a film. It's just like surrounding yourself with people who have the same creative vision as you, and that'll make it so you don't have any issues, especially in like the creative stuff.
I love working with actors. I mean, I love writing and directing. Those are like my two big passions, but there's just something about getting that text together, getting into rehearsal, and just getting to play with actors. I used to do theater before I really started doing film in earnest, so yeah, just, it's fun. It's fun to bring things to life.
I'm definitely about both. I love the writing, and I love what that means to just be with me, or sometimes I write with a writing partner, and it's just us, and we're creating this world and the imagination. And then I love taking that and turning it into 3D. Like now we're go from script to like all the other nuts and bolts that come into the scheduling and all that stuff. I mean, I can take or leave all of that stuff, but like actually being on set, and it's so much fun going to the locations and figuring out like what you're gonna do in the space and what it means for the scene and what makes the best sense for the scene. And it's a different part. I don't know if it's scientifically a different part of the brain or whatever. Not that smart on that front. But it is just definitely like a different part of the creative, that now your world is alive, and I love that energy.
Awesome. Yep.
I was gonna say, I feel like I've always been like a storyteller because I'm an editor now, and when I was younger I used to always write scripts. Literally as soon as I could write, I would write a script. And I'm not an actor, but I used to act out those scripts when I was really little. Like, that's embarrassing. But and then I went into editing because I was like, okay, this is the best way of like telling a story, because I take other people's work and I can make a story out of it, like a new story almost. And then I remember that when I was younger, I used to do a lot of fan videos and stuff, like editing fan videos. And then I was like, wait, I'm editing other people's characters. Why don't I just create my own characters and do that? So I've started doing that. So like, I would love to continue. I don't know if I'm even answering the question now, but I would love to continue directing and creating and not just edit, because editing is other people's work, and I want to edit my own work. So.
Got it.
Yeah, cool.
No, that was good.
Editors make really fantastic directors. That's something that I've learned recently in the past couple of years. Yeah.
You have to direct you're editing it in your head. You're trying to make sure you got enough coverage, or just, I'm like, oh, that'll cut, so we can move on. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're on to something.
Cool. Well, I wanted to throw out to the audience. I just realized the guy walked away with the microphones, but we're a small room. So if there's questions, Sarah?
Yes, thank you. So it's great to hear from all of you. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and your experiences. I have a question. I'm not sure if any of you deal with imposter syndrome, for example.
Hell yes.
What is that?
Badly.
Does everyone know what that is? Do you?
No, I feel like I definitely belong here.
Yeah, I'm really. I can't give a good. It's basically thinking that you're not good enough, that you're not in the right place, basically.
Internalize. When
Right.
you achieve something, you can't internalize that, and you always feel like, oh no, I didn't really deserve that. I didn't really work as hard as they think. So something like that. How do you deal with that?
I feel like that. I feel like that with this film, just because my actors are so good that sometimes I'm like, I didn't actually direct this. Like, they just did it by themselves. So maybe I'm not like a director. I don't fucking know. And again, well, maybe this is like my second short film that I've directed. The other I didn't write, so it was easier to direct, I feel. But yeah, God, yeah. No, that's the thing, is that my best friend is an actual director.
You're an actual director. This is what it's all about.
I'm sorry.
I meant my best friend is a director, and as well, and he's done loads of films, and here I am walking in with like all these festivals, like selections, this and that, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry, Mark, like, this is my first time doing this, like, how can I call myself, I don't know, it's just like weird, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know.
But if you didn't get to see it, it's a beautiful film. So be proud of that.
Yeah, I think, like, especially growing up as a gay woman of color, you have so many people, especially society, telling you that, like, you're not good enough, no one wants your content and stuff, and you really just have to, I mean, it's easier said than done, but you have to ignore that because it's not true, and there are so many people like you who need your content, especially like kids and young adults who are going through the same thing as you, and what helps me is just like surrounding myself with people who believe in me and other people who have the same views as me, and then also I Put the Bi and Bitter has really helped me because, you know, I've had like kids reach out to me and say, hey, your series helped me come out to my family, and it's like, I helped that one person, and that makes everything worth it. Like, we're making season 2 and season 3 right now, and just the thought that this is reaching younger kids, and this is like content that I wished I had growing up, it like validates everything. So just know why you're doing it, and if you're thinking about doing it, just like do it, because people need you, people need your voices.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I know for me, the further and further I go into my career, the more and more I feel it. And it's...
You feel the imposter syndrome?
I do, and it's weird. It's crazy because it's like at this point... I know, and you think. I know, it's crazy. I know it's crazy. But I shouldn't use that word. No, I just turned 30 a couple weeks ago, and literally leading into my 30th birthday, I was like, I haven't done a feature yet. I haven't like done all these things. And then I thought about the opposite side. I played Outfest last year. Mm-hmm. That was a goal that I had coming into January. Like, I want to get a short film into Outfest. By July, I'd made a film that just got a walk on into Outfest. I've gotten the chance to work, on a TV show for Amazon like last year. And these are these things, again, like you don't always take them in. You don't always see all the blessings because you're so focused on what's ahead and the big goals that you have. Like for me, it's like feature 1. That's like all I can think about. But I forget that I've been at AFI. I've gotten to go to Outfest. I got flown out to New York by Condé Nast. Like, what? So, it's like, it's remembering that stuff. And you just have to remember that each step is not wasted. It's always something. It's a web series that I did that I was like, whatever. Next thing I know, it's on the horror noir like syllabus that I find online, thinking to myself, God, I wish I was on that, and then boop, I was there. So it's all, what's the word? Collective. It all adds cumulative. I write. Oh God. But it's all cumulative, and you have to take those moments, stop, and be like, I'm on this path. I'm making things happen. I'm here at this panel right now. Like, it's all happening.
And to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, I noticed that a lot of things that you mentioned, you were like, I want to play at Outfest. I want to do these. It's also sometimes manifesting. And if you're in your head saying you're not these things. And so definitely I kind of had the reverse where when I first started out, I felt like I'm not this. And so then I was like, I need to get educated, and I just need to do it more, to learn as much about it as possible, to kind of make me feel like I am that. And then it was articulating it. I heard a male director just say, I just went from being a PA, and I was like, I'm a director. And then next thing you know, I want to do this, and he was doing that. And so then I was just like, I'm a writer-director. And I want to make my first feature by the time I'm 30. I made it when I was 29. So I mean, so it is just positive thinking. Man, I mean, I know it sounds a little woo-woo and whatnot, but it can go a long way. Just, you are it.
Yeah,
You're a writer. You're a director.
Yeah, similar to that. Like, I grew up in a place that was very like humble. Don't talk about yourself. Like, don't be like that. Don't like brag. Bragging is bad. Yeah. And so every time I speak, I'm always like, am I talking too much? Should I shut up? I shouldn't brag about all the things I've done. But then I think about it, I was like, my fucking film went to 5 festivals last year. That's something to be accomplished. Like, that's, yes. What the fuck, Sierra? You should be like proud of yourself and excited about those things. And I literally have that like mental barrier of like, you're not allowed to talk about yourself. Mm-hmm. And the way that I've worked on it is reminding myself, like, had I not said what I said on the panel last year, I wouldn't have met the specific person who ended up being my AC, who ended up being my editor, who, like, if I had not spoken about myself, I would not have more opportunities. So walking into a room and saying, like, I'm a writer, director, and an actress, I have all these things, and speaking, literally speaking, puts those opportunities within your grasp, because nobody's going to know who you are if you just stand in the back and don't say anything.
Bam.
So, yeah, speak up. Right. Claim it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, sure.
I love it.
So we are in the middle of developing our own web series. And none of the chapters really
from a director standpoint, I would definitely say be super organized. Write down all your things, make sure you keep a log of all your shots, or like go through the footage once you have it and label it all, because that will super help an editor later and save them a lot of time. But also, more coverage is always better. If you don't really know what they're gonna want, do more. Because you can always cut, I know you hate cutting things, but you can always cut things later.
Yeah.
You can't go back and do it
Fix
again.
it in post, okay? Don't
Don't
fix it in
post. Just get some more coverage. Do it one
Draw a
time for
storyboard,
safety.
do a shot list.
Shot list.
Send it
Shot
to
list,
them.
yes.
Storyboard.
Shot list.
There you go.
Yeah, and I would just say have the editor involved in pre-production as much as possible. Just like have them help you with the shot list and the storyboards and stuff. And then when you're on set, and once you have like footage and dailies, get that out to them as soon as possible. Because if you don't have a shot that they need, they can like tell you, so you can schedule like a pickup day or something.
And have a script supervisor and communicate with them, let them know if you liked a particular take for that scene. Take as many notations of what you thought was one of the best performances, or you liked the way the camera moved. That will help them in going through all of the footage later.
Also, be sure to get room tone. Room tone is so important.
And
Yes. And definitely don't fix it in post.
Do you guys, for people that don't, what is room tone? Because
Where? Okay, everybody be quiet. Room tone.
What's that noise?
Listen.
There are certain frequencies that we don't notice in our daily life, but you can hear it on film. If you hear like the refrigerator running or something in the background, and being able to capture that, then they can isolate it in the editing process and take it out of it. So you're not hearing zzz in the background of all of your dialogue. So that's what it is.
Sorry, I ran
know
over.
that side of it.
Yeah, and the room tone's good as well for cutting, because yeah, if you have like a car going by during your take, or like in between dialogue, you can cut that out, but then you have nothing to replace it with, so that's what room tone's for, is to replace that. I was gonna say, as an editor, make sure that you've got money in your budget to get like stock footage and stuff, because if you don't get enough coverage of anything, you can cheat it with like shit from the internet and stuff, but that will cost you and stuff. So yeah, and they answered the rest, like storyboard, that's like the most important. But I would say always get your editor first. That's like really, like a lot of people don't think about post, and they don't think about post for budget. They don't think about post whilst they're actually, you know, doing pre-production and stuff. But like the editor is almost like the most important thing, because yeah, I don't know.
And is your editor in?
Did you say you don't have an editor yet? Or okay, yeah.
there's some editors up here.
Are you gonna do the editing in North Carolina, or? Okay. Because they could come to set and be your DIT.
I will edit in North Carolina if you want. My girlfriend's from North Carolina, and I'm trying to find a reason to come. So like, yeah, if you want, like, she's not reason enough, but like. Yeah. Right. Mm.
That's why a lot of like people we've talked to and all that aren't from there, just because it's very hard to find someone who either does it professionally or admits that they do it, because it's one of those places that are, you know, it's kind of looked down on. So like you can't say, oh, I'm going to be a film editor and get anywhere. So more than likely they won't be.
But there is an editing group on Facebook for North Carolina. Just saying. I don't know if that helps you, but like, there you go.
Awesome.
Also, it helps if the person in charge of like the director or a writer or a creator who wants to help with the edit, if they're in the same location. So if you can go visit and sit with your editor and watch what they're making and kind of critique it while it's going, then they're not going to spend all this time doing something that you don't like. So definitely be able to be involved more so.
Just one more thing, like in the editing, once you're in the editing room, you might see a story that is different than what you had on the page. So I would say keep an open mind, because you might see your footage differently. So the problems you think might be problems might not actually be problems. So that would be my suggestion.
No, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
I was going back, I know it's like a little bit back. I was just going back to the stock footage. Emma, we were talking about this last night, and I couldn't believe when she told me this. There's a beautiful shot of London and the London Eye, the big Ferris wheel that's on the river. Tell me, wait, how much did you pay for that?
It was, so
It's
we went,
ridiculous.
so that's the thing is that my writing partner loves YouTube and stuff. So she went on YouTube and she just looked up like drone footage and stuff. And a lot of people who do drone footage tend to sell their footage. So I think I just ended up emailing the guy and he was like, well, it's all about it's down to seconds. So he says, how much do you need? If you need the whole thing, it's probably going to be expensive. But if you just need like 3 seconds or 4 seconds, it was £35. For what I needed, and if I didn't have it, it would have been ugly.
It was a beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful shot. It's like a aerial, beautiful shot.
Thank you. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
But yeah, no, I think that's important too, is to use the resources that you may not have, like, editors in North Carolina. There are places online, there's communities. I'm hoping ClexaCon, we start, Alyssa, she was back there. We did meetups last year after the festival. A lot of the filmmakers last year were from LA, so we started doing meetups, and we're hoping to do more stuff like that, to kind of create those resources, because it is hard, especially finding fellow LGBT creators if you're not in some of the big cities. Like, I was living in a rural Illinois town for 5.5 years, I know. But that's the beauty of being online too. It's like you're like, there's a Facebook group in North Carolina. What? And you'll find those people. I mean, I know there's a lot of, especially Facebook groups for some reason have just exploded in terms of production resources.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not a lot of particularly queer production resources. So so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's where I get all my work from. Facebook. Yeah.
Was there any other questions for you guys?
Please ask more questions.
Yeah. Kelly.
The start of the idea to the first production day, what was the timeline for your various projects? Like, how long?
Sorry, I thought you were gonna. My writing partner and I started, it was like a year of writing just the script, and then the film itself took 3 days to shoot. The pre-production took a little while, it took a few months. And it almost didn't happen because I had a meltdown, I had a breakdown the night before the shoot, going, how the fuck am I going to afford all this? What the hell am I doing? Because again, you have to think of all of these things, all the equipment. I was in this room with all of the equipment, and I was like, how am I going to take all of this to set? It was insane. And I was on the phone to my sound girl, and I was crying, and I was like, I don't think I can do this, whatever. So that took a while. And then took a while just to get over that. And then a few months to edit, and then here I am. Yeah, I think that's it. So that was a year and a half, 2 years, almost, yeah, pretty much.
I don't do math, so I don't know. So I wrote this film at ClexaCon last year during the trans rep panel, sorry. I basically just, one of my friends was on the panel and was like, I've never seen myself in film. And I was like, that's not okay. I'm gonna do something. So I tuned out the rest of the panel and wrote it. Sorry. And then, sat on it for, 2 months because it was very personal and, didn't know what to do with it. And had Alyssa editing it for me and looking at it for me. And then I, planned to shoot it, ClexaCon last year was April, so I planned to shoot it in September, but we just couldn't get all of our sound and DP people at the same weekend at the same time, and Alyssa works a lot. And so we had to push it back to October, and then that didn't work because the same thing, and then so we had to push it back to November. And then it got finished editing at the end of January, submitted immediately, and into this. So under a year, I guess. But I'm also stupid efficient. Yeah. When it matters.
Yeah, I think the longest part for me was writing it. So I came up with the concept and wrote the pilot in March of 2018, and then I kind of just sat on it for a while, but then I wanted to write the rest of the season, so I knocked it out over the summer, and then we shot it in 3 days, which was insane, because it's 8 episodes, they're 4 minutes each. Yeah, and then our turnaround was also super quick because I was just super eager to get this out there ASAP because I hadn't seen content like it, and I was like, hey, people need this. Let's just throw it up there. And then for season 2, it was similar. I think season 2 was a lot easier because we gone through season 1, so we knew what we were doing a little bit more. So season 2 was 10 episodes, and we shot it in 4 days, which was also crazy. We shot like 15 pages a day. But yeah, we just get a really amazing crew who's like super excited to be there, and then they will work hard for you.
She's insane.
Do you see her eyes? Kelly's actually my
Wow.
producer for my film. I just see her eyes going, oh shit.
She's like really dedicated. That was crazy. I wrote the script. I banged it out in like June. We shot at the end of July. I edited the first 3 episodes. Then we shot episode 4 and 5 at the end of October. And yeah, and now I'm here. So not too long. A couple months.
So for If This Is Wrong, because it was an AFI thesis project, it had a very, AFI has a very rigid schedule that we had to follow. So the script was first proposed as a thesis August of 2014, I think. And then I came in April of 2015 because there was some shakeup with the production team. So I came in to replace the director that was originally supposed to go with the project. And then I did maybe 3 weeks of rewrites, and then like a month and a half of prep, 3 days of shooting, and then we spent the rest of the year editing. And then, yeah, I think we colored in like December of that year, finally finished in about January, February of last year. Wait, shit. I don't even know. It took a while. It's all a blur. Yeah. But yeah, it's a process. But yeah, a lot of times, like with AFI, a short usually takes about a year.
Was there another question up here? I thought?
Oh, she didn't.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry,
Didn't
guys.
answer.
I think it took about like a day, 2 days to write. It's only 7 pages. Workshopped it. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, but it was poetic. I kind of returned to an earlier phase of my writing style. And so I wasn't really sure if it kind of worked, so I workshopped it through like my writers group and got some really great notes and like really emotional feedback from it. So then I was like, and that was in 2016, 2015, and then in 2016, it placed in the Austin Film Festival. So then that kind of gave me a little like, well, it's poetic, but maybe there's something here. So then I was like, let's make it. And I started to send it out to some of the talent who also had similar responses, and again, talent that I didn't think I'd be able to get, but they really responded to the script. And then, yeah, we ended up shooting it January of last year, 2018, and 2 days, and I took something really simple, 3 characters, 2 locations, 7 pages, and made it extremely complicated. And once if you see it, it's VFX heavy, and it's something. It's a meditative something. And so post in the VFX process was very long. So we actually didn't get it done until like the end of almost a year, like December, January of 2019. We finally like called it done and locked and put it out to the festival world. It's on the festival circuit now.
Fantastic.
Nice.
All right, and a question. Oh, sorry. I'll go over here. I know there's a question, then a question, and then, yes, go ahead.
Okay, other than putting your work out to the festival world, do you have plans to monetize your work in any way?
Yes. My plan for my films basically is like a year and a half of festival circuit, and then look for distribution. So my first film is on Tello, and I'm gonna maybe pursue that for this in like a year, or Amazon Prime or something like that.
Yeah, our entire web series is just online for free through YouTube, and that just goes back to our target demographic because it's like very kid friendly and we're making it for a younger audience. So it's important for us that it's accessible to kids because kids won't be like paying for an online subscription and stuff. And I think YouTube is just such a great device to like get, especially like minority and LGBT content out there. Yeah, and we're hoping, so after YouTube, we're hoping to eventually develop it into like a TV pilot or something that maybe we can pitch to people.
But if you've seen that show, I could totally see it on Freeform, like right now.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's amazing.
It's amazing. Graphically, like the
Amazing.
graphic. I mean, the
I love
emoji.
it.
There's like all these emojis
So
floating around.
cool.
It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, it's called I Put the Buy-in Bidder.
The buy-in bidder. I'm here for unqualified, but I put the buy-in. Yeah, unqualified is also just on YouTube. I really did not think it would get this big of a response. I kind of just did it so that me and my friends could have something for our reels because we're all actors. And it just got such a great response. Like, if you guys could just like subscribe to my YouTube channel so that we can get some views, that would be really cool. Unqualified web series on YouTube. I'm just gonna keep plugging that.
I was gonna say, yeah, I want to make money, of course. Who doesn't want to make money? But I don't know how. Because my film has a lot of music in it, and like I have all the rights. Like, I mean, I have the rights for festivals, but if I were to try and sell it or like make money from it, I think I would need to kind of go back to the artists and be like, what do you need? Like, how much do you need from me? And then maybe replace the music if they, if they're like, no, it's like, or it's too much or something. But I was going to ask about YouTube because I wanted to do the festival run so that I could kind of get the recognition, like, get like, oh, I was in festival, so my next film I can get like, hopefully like money. But but I was gonna say, like, if I were to go, oh yeah, I'm gonna put it on YouTube, like, how do you monetize? Because my trailer is monetized, even though there's the word lesbian, it didn't get demonetized. But a lot of stuff on YouTube, like gay stuff, just, it's like, I don't know, you have to be, I don't know, how do you make money?
There's a certain
From like, you don't make money? Oh shit, well there you go then.
But there's
Maybe not
whole-
YouTube,
We don't.
no money.
I feel like there might be. I don't know if there's a panel this year. Jess Desfano, who does a lot of the moderating right now. You may have seen her on the main stage. She's actually head of creative partnerships at YouTube, and she's talked about it a lot in terms of. But yeah, there's definitely YouTube has changed a little bit. So much, and I know it's been hard, especially for LGBTQ creators. I know there's been a lot of talk about that. I don't know the specifics, so I'm not going to speak on that, but I just know there's been talk about how it's changed, I guess.
I don't know, maybe, yeah.
But you monetize a lot of it. Right.
Yeah.
And even like coming out, like it was like coming out videos, and it was all sorts of stuff that happened, so. Yeah. What was
If money wasn't a problem, what would be the next project that you would work on?
I would make a feature-length 1930s Broadway dance musical that I did last year, that I did 6 minutes of last year. Give me 20 years and 20 mil.
Yeah, I would love to turn this into a TV show. I would love to be able to pay my crew. That would be great.
Being able to pay the crew would be awesome.
I have a couple of features that I'm sitting on that I just don't want to spend the money on. So like if somebody wants to give me the money, I would like to make the rest of my content that sits on my computer.
I would go into production full-time on my documentary, Black Barbie, a documentary. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. It's a thing. It's happening, though.
You've been
It's a
getting
good
some
one.
really great interviews, right, recently?
I wouldn't say recently, but I have
you have some-
booked
Yeah.
two very lovely people that I'm very excited about. So come money, so we can shoot next month. I want to shoot with them next month, actually.
Yeah. So speaking of that, let's go, we only have a couple more minutes. Let's go down the road. What is next for you guys? If it's this project, or is there a project that you're working on for the future?
Yeah, so season 2 is actually coming out in like a week and a half. You can watch season 1 on YouTube. Season 2 is coming out, and then we're actually shooting season 3 in the summer, and we're also doing a crowdfund for that. And yeah, if you want to come talk to me, I have like business cards. I can give you all of our information. Yeah, just I put the buy-in bidder. You can find everything online.
What's next for me? Well, I just released episode 2 like 2 days ago. So it would be episode 3, and then the episode you saw last night, and then episode 5. And if we get any more money, maybe 5 more episodes. But as I'm an actor, I don't have a lot of time. So hopefully you'll be seeing me on TV, like in the near future, I think.
My that's not a word. My writing, I am tired. My writing partner and I are working on our second short film together. Title might change, so I'm not gonna say it. It's a story of 2 women wanting to start a family, and like the process of like going through it and stuff is gonna be a comedy, so we're pretty excited about that. And yeah, that's it. That's me. Yes.
I just shot another short film 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to be dealing with that for a little bit, but trying to focus more on writing and just having a good portfolio of work that I can start submitting, and hopefully working with all of y'all to kind of make those things happen.
Please hire me.
Yes. Well, please hire me. We all don't have money. It's fine.
Let's all hire each other.
For me, I am prepping a new short film, which is going to be a live reading of a poem by B. Richards with an actress that I adore. And then right now I'm taking a Sundance collab workshop screenwriting class where I am working on my first feature script. I got to do a page 1 rewrite, so hopefully that'll happen in the next couple years.
Black Barbie, a documentary. My aunt worked for Mattel for 45 years, and she was there when Barbie was released in '59, and she was like, why not make a Barbie that looks like me? 21 years later, Black Barbie. So yes, that's what's on the docket next. Follow us, and yeah, thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for being here. I do want to say, so most of these lovely people, their projects have been screened already, but we have another screening tomorrow at noon where you can see Light and Dark Places and Life at Home. So please join us tomorrow, and please join us for the rest of the festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you.